Hello, race fans. Welcome back into Studio 3. I'm Alex Weaver. It is Talladega week. We're excited about this one. I have Jonathan and Chase from NASCAR.com. Let's talk about the first things first at Talladega. It's a new aero package. The only time that we've seen this on track is a couple teams tested the Monday following the Daytona 500. What can we expect from it?
So it's essentially going to be just a higher drag package. We have not seen this out on the racetrack in race trim at all. So essentially what they've done is they had the rear spoiler up to 8 inches. What they saw in the test, they saw that that speeds were a little bit too high for their liking, and predicted speeds when they're out there in a group were a little bit too high. So they added another inch. So they're going from 8 inches to 9 inches on the spoiler, and they're also adding something to the track bar mount to raise that up an inch. So usually you go to the plate tracks and you see the cars, especially in qualifying trim, they're all squatted down really far in the back. That's going to be limited how much they can do that. They want the back of that car up in the air a little bit to create a little bit more drag.
Because the speed at Talladega wasn't enough already.
Yeah.
What can we expect this weekend?
Yeah, so this weekend I think we're going to see more drag. Obviously, that's the whole reason why they're doing this. Slowing the cars down a little bit, punching a bigger hole in the air, and the whole point is to create more passing so we can put on a great show for the fans.
All right.
So, yeah, punching a bigger hole in the air. The second car gets a bigger run, theoretically. We'll have to wait and see what that's going to look like on track. But from everything that we've seen so far, and there's been a couple iRacing simulations, which those don't always nail it all the time, but those things were pretty fun to watch too.
Well, I think every driver likes going to Talladega, but there are some favorite that we can pick to win possibly and head to victory lane at Talladega. Who are the favorites this weekend?
I think all things considered with this new package, you just kind of have to go with what you know. I think the guys who have been good will be good. Team Penske, Joey Logano, 3 wins there. Brad Keselowski's got 5 wins there. Other than Denny Hamlin, I don't know if you can go away from those 3 guys this weekend.
So you're still going with Penske.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though they have this past aero package figured out, you think they're going to figure this one out as well?
Absolutely.
And I hate to agree with Merryman, but I am. Actually, I think Team Penske, they're gonna go, and we're gonna see more of the same. They've won 6 of the past 9 races at Talladega, and that's you can't beat that. It's 3 apiece in that time span for them. And Ryan Blaney hasn't had the success at Talladega as opposed to like Daytona. He's led more laps there and all that, but he knows how to get to the front and stay there, and I think it's going to be all Team Penske at Talladega this weekend.
I think those guys will stick together. It's going to be a team battle, I feel like, but with the new aero package, who's going to have a leg up? I don't know if anybody's going to have a leg up. I think it's going to draw everybody even closer together, so you have to rely on those guys with that kind of have a ace in their back pocket, so to speak, in terms of skill. Joey Logano doesn't believe in luck. I think Brad Keselowski's the same way. They use their skill to get to the front there, so I think we're going to see more of the same.
Well, and speaking of Team Penske, they have the most active winners at Talladega with Keselowski and Logano. Ryan Blaney showed speed and has the most laps led this year without a win. So is it Team Penske definitely for the win, or can you pick anybody else in the field?
If you're giving me Team Penske versus the field, I will take the field just because it's a numbers game. I mean, it's such a wild card race. It's the spring race. You don't have that playoff pressure on the line. Those guys have, I don't know, they've won before, so they don't have anything to lose, so to speak. But I don't know. The numbers with where they are, I would take the field over Team Penske, even though I do think Penske will be the best cars there.
I am going to take Team Penske. I would definitely take 3 cars
You've
over the
taken
rest
Team
of the field.
Penske all year long.
I do, but the thing is I have so much faith in them. And with the Ford Mustang, they're just so strong. And last year in the spring race at Talladega, they controlled the front of the field. And, we're going to see a lot of passing and with this new aero package and everything. But I still think they're going to find a way to control that field for the majority of the race and be at the front when it matters the most.
All right, well, let's talk strategy at Talladega, if you can even have a strategy going into this race. The big one always looms. It's the biggest circuit that we travel here on the NASCAR circuit. So how do we avoid the big one? Is there a way to avoid it? Do you run up front like SHR did last year? Do you hang out in the back? Can you avoid the big one at all?
I think it depends where the big one starts. There's potential that the car running up front gets turned and takes out everybody. But I think the farther you are up front, if you can control the field, you're that lead car that can, go high when the run's coming, go low when the run's coming. I think that's the only way that you can 100%. It's not even 100%, or that's your best chance to be safe during the race. You've got to be up front.
So you're a backseat driver. You're riding clean air.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'll tell you where you don't want to be is the middle of that pack at any point in the race.
I'm
either going to be all the way in the back or all the way in the front. So positions 13th through 17th, have been in like half of the big ones at Talladega with 4 or more cars in them. So with those stats, that's going to scare me. I'm either going to try to get my butt to the front or stay way in the back and hope that I can time it just right to get out there and win.
Who knows with this new aero package that, I mean, you know, you could
Talladega's
go.
already
You
crazy.
don't know what you're going to see, so who knows how much of a run you're going to get, and I don't know. It's just I'm going to be locked on. I'm going, but in the media center, I'm going to be locked on the screens, making sure I keep up with everything every lap. It's going to be a lot.
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, I'm trying to figure out my fantasy this week, and I might as well
Good
just
luck.
take all the names and
Rip
just
it
put
out.
them
Draw
in
out
a
of the
hat.
hat.
Yeah, it's making my head hurt, so I can't imagine what the drivers and teams are facing this upcoming week and this race weekend. It's insane.
So we're predicting a crazy Sunday, but let's talk about if we had a last lap, just craziness. You have a driver that you can pick to run P2, and they have to make a last lap pass. Who is your best last lap passer at Talladega?
It would probably, of all time or active?
What? Let's go active.
Okay. Active, it would be dead tie between Brad and Joey.
I would go Joey.
Brad has made moves at that racetrack before when, you know, his playoff life was on the line and people's jaw hit the
But we're
floor.
picking the field against Team Penske people.
Yeah, but I mean, you're giving me a last lap scenario and where you're guaranteeing me I can have a guy up
Okay,
front
so
in
say
second
Kevin
place.
Harvick's P1. You still going with Logano?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Or
right.
Brad, either
Okay.
Oh,
one.
There you go. I'm gonna go with Denny Hamlin actually. He's won 2 Daytona 500s. The first one that he won, he passed Martin Truex Jr. on like it was the photo finish and all that. So he's a really good clutch performer. He's not gonna like stay out front and lead the whole race.
Yep.
But when it matters the most, when the money and the trophy's on the line, he's going to make that car fast, and he's going to get to the front. He's going to make some bold passes. So I'd go with Denny Hamlin last
If he
lap.
gets 2 speeding penalties or pit road penalties, look out because he might be in victory lane. That's his.
He can do it there, too.
his
It's almost
voodoo.
his lucky charm. I think he does it on purpose. I'm going to say.
Maybe.
Who knows?
All right, let's talk about also if you have to make a block on the last lap for the win. Ryan Newman?
No. No.
He's the hardest to pass.
Yeah, he's the hardest to pass, but he also lands on a lot of cars early and often.
upside down.
So, yeah,
That's true.
if I'm not blocking Newman because he's going over, I don't know. I'd still pick the same two. I think, I don't know, Logano and Brad.
Or Blaney.
They could just, I mean, he doesn't have the history there that those two have.
He
So
has to
that's the
prove
reason
himself a little
he's
bit.
True.
left out.
All
I mean,
right.
just hands down the best 3, super speedway race car drivers, period. Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, and I'll take the 2 teammates.
Are you leaving out poor Ricky Stenhouse Jr. over here? He's
got,
pretty good.
Yeah, he's got 1 win at Talladega, and
He has to show me a little more.
All
I
right.
agree with
Yeah.
that. So mine's going to be Joey Logano, hands down. Last spring, he made that car really wide the final 50 laps, and he took the lead with, I think it was like 48 to go after a restart, and he never looked back. He's going to make that car as wide as possible. He knows how to do it. He knows how to block. And block properly. There's a difference between a good block and a bad block. We've seen a lot of bad blocks at Talladega and Daytona, but he's a good blocker, and he'll protect that lead and get you the win.
well, Logano's also got T.J. Majors, which is one of the best, plate track
Spotting is very
spotters.
key at Daytona.
Good point.
Period.
Yep.
So I would say the edge in both of those categories, now that I think about that, would probably have to go to Logano.
Do you guys load up on guys that are winning now, or do you load up on? Why are you laughing at me?
Oh, because me and him, he won't tell me who he's picking. I won't tell him who I'm picking, and we were kind of arguing about this earlier.
Yeah,
Okay.
on our walk, we were arguing. Like,
So
I
I want
can't wait
you.
for
I
this.
want you to go first.
You want me to go first?
I want you to tell me your strategy before you tell me your driver.
You're setting me up. Okay, my strategy, I'm going to go with youth over experience because if you think about it, it's a draft. I'm going to build my team for the long haul. I want these guys. I want these to get the most out of these guys that I can. So I'm going to sprinkle in some experience in there. Don't get me wrong. But I'm
Okay.
going to go with some youth for sure.
I'm about to 30 for 30 him. What if I told you you
Lord.
did not have to pick between youth and experience?
Well, I mean, that kind of blows my mind. I want to
You-
see
So
what
you
you're
Joey
don't-
Logano.
You don't have to pick. Kyle Busch is 33, 34 years old. He's easily got another 10 years. Joey Logano's not even 30 yet. You can squeeze another 15 out of him. He hasn't even peaked yet, and Kyle hasn't peaked yet either. And then you have some other guys you can build who are super young or not at the Cup level. You could backfill, but you can get veterans in there who have been racing at the Cup level since they were in their super early 20s. So
Mhm.
you don't have to pick between one or the other. You can build a super young team and have them, projected 10 to 15 years down the line and build a dynasty and not have to, take risks on guys who haven't made it to the cup level yet.
Well, and I feel like you kind of know who I'm gonna pick. That's kind of where I feel like you looked at my card or something.
I did
All right,
not.
I'm
so-
still gonna sprinkle some experience in there.
All right, so who you got?
Let's start with number one
Okay.
first. That's always the most talked about person, possibly,
I
in
do
any
know who
type
his
of
number
draft.
one is.
So, who is your number one pick on the board?
Am I going first again?
Yes, and it's not personal, said driver, when you see my reaction, but I just think it's a bad pick.
Oh, gosh.
Well, look at that. Okay, so my number one is Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell is
Whoa.
See?
yes.
See?
I'm telling you, nobody wants. I picked him last year when we did the driver draft as number one, and I got some flack for it. But Christopher Bell is
Is this
the
a cup team we're building?
Yes.
yeah, but you can.
Yeah,
I mean,
Chase,
we got the
whoa.
whole. Okay, so Christopher Bell is the next big thing.
Okay.
Mark my words right here. A lot of people believe that. I know I'm not the only one.
How do you know that, though?
He can get into anything and win it.
Agree.
He's like,
in
I do
Xfinity.
think he will be very successful in cup win and if he makes it there.
if.
But yeah, I know. But like
I think it's a win. He makes.
yeah,
it
he's
there.
going to be the next big thing, but Kyle Busch and Joey Logano are the big things right now, and they've got 10, 15 years left.
I am saving. I'm going the long haul here. I'm gonna put
10
my
to
money.
15 years is an eternity.
I was thinking active cup driver, so I'm just very thrown off right now.
Yeah, he's crazy, isn't he?
Okay, let me give you my top five. Let me prove some type of
Oh,
point.
it's
if
only
I
a
can.
four-car team, but
Well,
yeah,
a four-car team. Well, then I'll leave somebody out. Then I'm gonna go.
You got charters?
I'm good
All
there.
right,
I
let's
made
go.
sure.
All
So I got Christopher Bell number one. I'm gonna put Joey Logano and Kyle Busch in there. Those are the two most talented drivers in the Cup Series right now.
But if they're not gonna be on the board. If it's me and you, if it's just two people picking, like you're only gonna get one of them. So you're literally spending your
It feels
basing
very
your
50 laps to go.
Yeah, franchise.
Mid of the pack, Talladega chippy right now.
I know you're basing your franchise off a guy who doesn't even have a Cup start.
Well, I like to take a risk.
All right.
I've made bold picks here before.
Keep going. One through
Then
four.
my last one is going to be Chase Elliott, and I know you're probably not going to agree with that one either. That's my four-car
Well,
team.
Chase is in my top four.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
All right, well,
yeah,
let's hear-
yeah. Put
let's
your
hear
money where your
yours.
mouth is. Let's go.
Kyle, Joey, Chase, and Blaney. Those are my four.
Okay.
I think. I mean, you
I like the
can't.
mix,
well,
though.
you can't like. So there are guys in the field right now.
Mhm.
Boyer, super competitive. You have Harvick, who won 8 races last year, and
Leaving
you know,
out the old dudes.
and I mean, it's going to come to an end at some point, and these other younger guys are going to rise to the occasion at some point. And with
34 and up, Merriman.
yeah,
Doesn't
with,
want you.
yeah, with Elliott and Blaney, I mean, they've won races and they're competitive every week. They're both with top-notch teams, like. And we're not here to speculate on how long guys have left, but if we're like getting into the philosophy of who we picked and why we picked them, I don't know how many years Truex has left, Harvick has left.
Wow, guys.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
So I'm not going to put them high up on my board. Now they're within the top 10 in my short list of guys. Like,
Okay, but question for you. Tom Brady in his 40s. Who knows how many years he has left? If it were an open NFL draft
I
with
wouldn't
every
take him.
single player,
heck
you would.
no.
Okay, well,
Why would you take Tom Brady at 40 years old?
because I like Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, you can get a Super Bowl ring and not have Tom Brady playing quarterback.
All right.
Kyle Busch is my Tom Brady in another 10 years. Kyle Busch is like you said, he has another 10, 15 years left in him, obviously. Who knows when Kyle Busch is going to hang it up because
I
he
don't
loves
see him
racing
ever
so much.
wanting to
And look,
retire.
Exactly, that's the thing. He's going to be my Tom Brady down the line.
I don't know if Kevin Harvick watches these videos. He might be watching these videos, and he may, just to spite everybody, race for another 10 years and probably is good enough to win because that's just the type of guy Kevin is. He's just, if you tell him no, he's going to do it
Get in
anyways.
the car with that AARP card.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's just, I'm just building mine off of,
Okay.
I've got 2 Cup champions and I've got 2 guys who are, well on their way.
They're
All right.
race winners, so I'll give you that much.
All right, so your 3 and 4 were Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney.
Yes.
Let's debate those two. If you only have the option to pick the 12 or the 9, let me give you some stats. Chase has 3 wins, Blaney has 2. Chase has 61 top 10s all time in his career. Blaney has 45. Chase has 122 laps led this season. Blaney has 353, which is the most laps led by an active driver right now without a win. Chase has 1365 laps led in his career, and Blaney has 1345. Who you picking?
I don't know. This one's.
No,
This
you
was.
have to pick.
I know this is one of the ones that are too close to call. I don't think there's a wrong answer, but
Battle of the besties.
no, I just think that at this point it just has to, whose personality fits your team the best. So for me, I would pick Blaney. But, I mean, Chase is a good race car driver too, and who knows? Those guys will be racing for championships against each other for a long time. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a bad decision to be
You just want to
made.
sell Blaney's vintage T-shirts.
Yeah, so I want his hats and shirts. They won't fit me though.
So thank you for picking Blaney because I'm picking Chase Elliott. So we're going to go against Grant again. I just think, Chase Elliott, he does have one more win. If we're talking right now, Ryan Blaney can get up front, he can lead the laps, but he just can't quite close yet. When Chase gets out front, he's going to get you a second. Like he's finished second how many times now, and he's gotten the 3 wins there. Yeah, a lot.
Well,
so
something clicked with him too last year that I think, and we saw it. It's hard to say it hasn't clicked with Blaney yet because of the performance he had against Harvick at Pocono, and he battled Kyle Busch at Pocono as well for that first win.
Mm-hmm.
But when Chase won at Watkins Glen, and he goes down in that first corner, and it looks like he slips up, and Truex is going to get there, and he holds him off. Something clicked with Chase in that moment, and he did figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
So I do agree with you there.
And that's why it's so hard.
Let's throw a twist in this, though. Let's say that everything that comes with that driver, team, manufacturer, crew, you have to take it all. It is not just handpicking the driver and putting them, in
Blaney.
the best.
Blaney.
And I made.
Are you still staying with Chase?
Yeah, I am because both are great drivers.
Yeah, but she's talking about equipment and everything.
Everything, yeah. I know, and I'm picking Chase despite the Hendrick struggles because Hendrick struggled last year, and Chase was still able to get wins out of it. So I mean, Hendrick, yeah, they've struggled, but they still have found some type of speed to get Chase Elliott up to the front, and then Chase goes out and gets the job done and closes the deal. So that's why I'm picking Chase. Despite all the struggles that they've had, Chase has still found a way to get in there, get in the round of 8 last year, and make it happen.
Chase also comes with a crew chief. It's the best crew chief in the garage to never win a title. It still blows my mind that Allen doesn't have one. The fact that they've made it to ISM the past 2 years and have been alive, I think that says a lot about that whole team. So, it's a toss-up. They're positives each way, but I take Blaney and that Penske equipment right now over Chase.
Well, you like Team Penske today. So
Yeah, for sure.
Blaney's just had some bad luck, too, just like at Texas, like a mechanical failure while he's leading the race. So it just everything kind of has to fall into place, too, for that to happen as well. So it's so many variables.
All right, well, we've already kind of touched on Tom Brady a little bit this segment, but let's talk about Tom Brady in the draft. He was Mr. Irrelevant, last pick of the draft. People thought it was, okay, we just need a backup quarterback.
Did you see the draft picture?
Oh.
Yeah, it's awful.
Bless his heart.
Yeah.
But, okay, so now he is Tom Brady, possibly the GOAT of football.
He is the greatest of all time.
Yes. So who do you think in the field right now, current active driver, is Mr. Irrelevant, maybe given a little bit more training, a little better equipment, could be the GOAT of NASCAR?
You go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah,
I want you to go first, actually.
I think I have 2 names on my list, and I don't think
I know one of them.
Ross Chastain. I don't think anybody is surprised by
I know
what
2 of
what
them.
he did. So I think Chastain is one of those guys. But even more so, I think that'll make people scratch their heads. I think Chris Buescher.
Oh, not who I thought you were going to
Wow.
go with.
Chris Buescher and what he was able to do in Roush's Xfinity stuff. I thought was phenomenal. I think what he's been able to do in the JTG stuff has been phenomenal. I think he outperforms his equipment every single week. And if
He ran really well at Richmond.
if he got a shot, I feel, in top-notch equipment like that, I think he would be hell to deal with on the racetrack.
All right.
Yeah.
Good old Texas boy.
My 2, Matty Benedetto.
That was-
The results haven't shown it, but his speed, he's getting everything
That's
he
what I
can
thought
out
your
of that
pick was going to
95.
be.
No, I didn't pick. I do think DiBenedetto in a top tier team. I do think he would set the world on fire. But for me, it just didn't have if he's on a draft board and you're looking at him, you're like, oh yeah, of course he's a solid race car driver.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the shock and awe value, and I don't think Chastain does either because of what he did last year in the Xfinity
And
Series. But I think if you see Buescher up there, what do people remember him for? Winning Pocono in the fog, right? So kind of, oh yeah, Chris Buescher.
Interesting draft.
He's
then.
a hell of a race car driver.
My second one, which I'm even more confident in, Ryan Preece. If you put Ryan Preece in a top-tier Cup team, a JGR, Stewart-Haas Racing, a Team Penske, he's going to win a race, hands down. He's
I agree
that
with both
talented.
of those. Both of those don't shock me though. I was hoping for something more juicy. Who would you do? Who would you pick?
I think Matt D. I know that he is in technically Gibbs equipment now, but if you put him in the top tier, one of those 4 drivers that is racing the top of the line equipment, I think Matt D is one. I love the Buescher pick.
That is a good one. I'll agree
Solid
with that.
pick.
I
It
like
is a
that.
really good pick.
Get you thinking.
Wow.
What about LaJoy? What about Jeffrey Earnhardt?
Jeffrey Earnhardt has impressed me this season in Gibbs equipment, but that's top of the line equipment. He has run well, but I don't know.
Yeah, if we're going with guys who are in the lower tier, I like our picks. I do. Like, I think we all have solid ones. I do like the Buescher pick, but for me, Ryan Preece definitely my top guy for sure.
I always love ending on a happy note. So when you guys are in agreement, we're going to wrap it up. It's Talladega week. We could not be more excited to get down to the state of Alabama. It's the Geico 500 at 2 p.m. on Fox. We'll see you guys right back here next week as we head to Dover.